Way too early RB rankings. Next on Fantasy Football Today in 5. Welcome to FFT in 5. I'm Chris Towers. I'm here with Heath Cummings. We're here to talk about way too early 2024 running back rankings. And we agree on number one. I know that. Everyone agrees on number one. Christian McCaffrey, he outscored the number 2 running back in PPR entering Week 18 by 121 points. It's not just a question of is he the number 1 running back, it's is he the number 1 pick in every single non-super flex or 2 QB league. I think he probably is, right, Heath?
I think he probably is. Again, I think we were given a very good reminder, if I wanted to be contrarian Heath this year, about the lifespan of a running back. Last year, I think 10 of the top 15 running backs were 26 or older. McCaffrey's going to turn 28 years old next year. It's going to end in the next 2 seasons. We've seen Austin Eckler look old. We've seen Derrick Henry look old. We've seen Dalvin Cook lose his job twice. It's coming, but yeah, he's number 1 still.
Yeah, I think it's fun to look at the other running backs from that really, really good 2017 draft class, just to give you some context for Christian McCaffrey. Leonard Fournette, Dalvin Cook, Joe Mixon, Alvin Kamara, Kareem Hunt, Deontay Foreman, James Conner. I mean, 1 or 2 of those guys might be a starter next year, and Christian McCaffrey is just going to be the number 1 pick in fantasy. So, yeah, we're kind of in a weird spot where the next generation hasn't quite taken over, but I've got Breece Hall as my number 2 running back. Heath, I know you do as well, right?
And I think that's where you see the next generation is here. The changing of the guard happened. Christian McCaffrey and maybe Alvin Kamara and maybe James Conner are the hanger-oners. But yes, Breece Hall is leading the charge of running backs who are 25 or younger. And I think probably 8 of my top 10 next year, maybe 9 of my top 12 are going to be 25 or younger.
Yeah, 19.3 PPR points per game from week 5 on. That was when he started playing at least half the snaps in every game for the Jets. Got to assume that offense is going to be better, although famous last words with the Jets, I guess. I've got Bijan Robinson, number 3. You've got Jahmyr Gibbs, right?
Yes, it's and I think you could convince me that Bijan Robinson is number 2 by the time we get to the start of next season. But right now, Jahmyr Gibbs was better this year.
Yep.
They're both going to have the same head coach at least next season. I would, if anything, expect. Well, we don't know that Bijan's going to have the same head coach.
Yeah.
Jahmyr Gibbs is going to. And that's what it's going to come down to, really, for Bijan. If he gets a new head coach who says, obviously, we're going to give the best player on our team the ball 20 times a game, then I think he'll probably be RB2.
Yeah, I would like a better quarterback in Atlanta as well. It seems safe to assume they'll have a different quarterback. Whether they'll be better remains to be seen. I've got Gibbs 4. I think 2 I feel more confident in with Breece Hall just because he was, after week 5, I think he was better than Gibbs with Montgomery healthy, and then obviously better than Bijan as well. So but I think that's the clear tier. After that, things get a little weird, and I think wide open. I've got Jonathan Taylor at number 5, and I flip-flopped a lot on him. I had him at number 3 at one point. Where do you have Jonathan Taylor?
Jonathan Taylor is number 7 for me.
Okay.
I think there are 3 more backs, all really young, all have very strong cases to maybe even be ranked ahead of Gibbs or Robinson. Maybe even, Kyron Williams has averaged 21 fantasy points per game. Jonathan Taylor's been the best running back in fantasy. Travis Etienne it deserves to be right in that conversation.
Yeah, I've got actually Devon Achane ahead of Kyron Williams and Travis Etienne, but they're the next 3 for me. Devon Achane, Kyron Williams, and Travis Etienne. I think fantasy Twitter there are going to be times when it gets pretty toxic when people are debating Devon Achane and Kyron Williams, because Devon Achane, just the talent argument is kind of inarguable with him, and it's just a question of whether he can. I guess, do you consider the ability to stay healthy while being a highly used running back a talent?
I think the best ability is availability.
Yeah, that's the question. He had a shoulder injury in training camp, went on IR with a knee injury, dealt with that toe injury late in the season. But if the Dolphins give him 12 carries and 5 targets per game next season, he could be the number 2 running back in fantasy, right?
I think the hardest thing to do with somebody like Achane, and I was looking at this today, I think he needs 14 carries to qualify for the yards per carry title. He's supposed to average 6.25 per your team's game. Well, there's not been a running back who's averaged anywhere. He's at 8 yards per carry.
He's 8, yeah.
Mercury Morris, another Dolphin, 6.4 yards per carry, holds the record for a running back. So, like, there's 20% efficiency regression coming if he's the most efficient running back ever.
Yeah.
He might average 5 yards per carry. In fact, that's probably where you're going to project him next year.
Yep.
And I think he needs more probably than 10 to 12 carries a game to be RB2 if he's at 5 yards per carry.
I've got Travis Etienne, efficiency monster as a rookie, more of a volume player in year 2. If he combines those, you're talking about a guy who could be looking at 270 carries and 75 targets in a season as a ceiling case. I've got James Cook at number 9, Josh Jacobs at number 10, Saquon Barkley at 11, and Rachaad White at 12. What's your final 4?
Okay, so I actually have currently Alvin Kamara ahead of Devon Achane. So
okay, interesting.
Not quite my final 4, but Kamara at, what would that be, 8? And then 10, 11, 12 are Rachaad White, David Montgomery, and Isaiah Pacheco.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, I considered all of those guys. White is really tough because he was maybe the best receiving back in football, 8 yards per carry, 91% catch rate, and one of the worst high volume rushers in the NFL. And I could see a world where he's a top 12 back. I could see a world where we're not drafting him inside the top 30 next season.
He might not be their best running back next year.
Right, that's what I mean. If the Buccaneers go and make a day 2 pick at running back to get a better early downs option or add someone in free agency, Saquon Barkley's a free agent, Josh Jacobs is a free agent. Rachaad White is the one who could slide the most between now and, April, May, when we're talking about the next round of way too early 2024 rankings. But that's going to do it for FFT and 5. We'll be back tomorrow to talk way too early wide receiver rankings. We'll see you then.